Yo, what up? It's Diggy, and this is Real Talk New York.
Yeah, all the stairs and all the glares, they waiting on them. And all the weight from all the hate is gaining on them. The intensity.
As you can tell, it's kind of a series from the first flight. And a lot of people, think it's a space thing. But it's more so of, the mindset that I've had, going through each project. In the first flight, it was, me getting my gears ready, about to take off. It was the first thing I was doing, figuring out my sound flow and different things. And now that I've taken off, and progressed and done a lot of things, I'm not at that point that I want to be yet. Figured all that out, but I'm kind of like at this point trying to make it here, smooth sailing. But that's what Airborne is. I'm a perfectionist, and being that this was like my second project, I really wanted it to be like a body of work, and like a real project that people can enjoy and listen to sonically all the way through. So I was working, might have been like three to 4 months on the whole thing, picking production and getting the tracks together. So about 3 to 4 months.
My current strengths and future weaknesses, experienced by those who came before me. The greats of my past have walked this way, left blueprints, and they've lost themselves, relapsed and recovered.
I love paying dues, paying homage to the people that have came before me, because they're the reason why I'm here, in hip hop. So that's what I did in that little talking part in the intro.
Diggy, what's good, man? It's your big brother, Lupe. Long time coming. It's like the future meets the future of the future. You heard?
Amazing, they're like both my big brothers musically, and then on the brother tip. So to bring them together, to do a song, it was amazing. I love the way it came out. Omen and Black the Beast on the production, and it made a whole lot of buzz on the net. As long as I just did my best, that's all it really is. So I think Blue did his thing, and P ended up doing might have been a 28, but he might have did a 28, something like that. But I feel as though everybody's verse was hot.
So much is discussing, and I don't do the doggy up crumping. Got some new cousins been coming. Don't watch me, watch the repeats. You already know, I think I'm Big Meech.
That was just a joke, you know what I'm saying? I was saying, don't watch me, watch the repeats. And then I was playing off, you already know I think I'm Big Meech, because, the Rick Ross track. So, no shot or anything. Shout outs to Ross. He actually, I met him at the MTV buildings, and, we exchanged, contacts between our people and stuff. So anything could happen in the future with Ross, so no shots or shade there. Favorite track? I love Thinking About You, number 2. I guess for the fact that it just came out dope, and when I had that beat for a while, and I kind of knew what I wanted to do with it concept-wise, and I got B Major to do the hook on it, and turned out to be one of my favorite tracks I've ever done. So that might be my favorite on the tape, amongst a lot of others.
Yeah, hey, Miss Anonymous, lately I've been reminiscing on all our kisses and what we had. I'm kinda missing, it got me tripping, cause everything just been so different. And every time I'm in the heights, I got a nigga thinking, what if she better off without me just running abroad? Then she got a new man and just waiting up on my call.
Well, I started rapping when I was 5. I had my cousin, just penning little things for me. And then, I kind of was, in studio and stuff when I was that little, until I was like, maybe like 9, 10, something like that. And then, it kind of stopped. And then, in like late 08, early 09, I started, just penning rhymes and, going over different instrumentals and things. And in 09, in summertime, is when I released my first track, and I knew I wanted to get serious with it, and that's when I put out my first mixtape.
I got my horns with me, I got my drummers drumming. It's your boy Diggy, go ahead and give me something. See what the problem is, I'm actually kinda dope. Not like an average kid, I bet that's what you probably hope. They say I'm quote unquote coming from the rich folks, but that's my pop's bread, but I can spit it though.
First one, you know, a lot of people embraced it and, you know, acknowledged, and, you know, other people, you know, kind of shied away from it. So, you know, that was cool, but I'm amazed at the, you know, the reviews and what people are saying, because it's definitely, I'd say 85 to like 90% positive things, you know, comments on places that, you know, are usually kind of ignorant, you know what I'm saying? So it's amazing, you know, even though I don't listen to those comments, it is great.
So how did the record deal come about?
The record deal came about the night I put out First Flight. The night I put out First Flight, I actually got a call from a label. It wasn't Atlantic that time. So, you know, I ended up meeting that label, and, you know, I didn't go straight to them. You know, I still wanted to scope out options. But, you know, at that time, I wasn't looking, you know, towards labels. You know what I'm saying? I was waiting for labels, you know, to come to me and just, you know, recognize the grind that I was putting in. And so, you know, after that, that's when Atlantic came. And then, you know, I loved it, and, you know, I felt real comfortable, and, you know, I knew that they would give me creative freedom. So, you know, they were getting stuff together, you know. And then when Made You Look came along, that's when it was like rapid fire, labels, labels, labels. And it was like 7 people I was having a bidding war against. But honestly, I loved Atlantic because, you know, the vibe and, like I said, the creative freedom that I got, I loved. And, you know, it feels like a family. So, you know, that ended up, you know, that made the process speed way faster. And, you know, that's how it came about. People are like, you know, oh, he doesn't realize, you know, that this and that. But, of course, you know what I'm saying? I did put in that grind on my own. But I do know that a lot of people did look to me, you know what I'm saying, and wanting to see what the little kid from Run's house could do. So, you know, that's why, you know, the buzz was real big because, you know, a lot of people, you know, were shocked. I would have been shocked if I was, you know, looking, you know, if I was on the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? From a kid that nobody would expect that to come out. They wanted to start as soon as I got signed. They were real excited about the project, and that's something else I loved about Atlantic, you know, very excited. And, you know, they knew that I had aspirations to do another mixtape, so they were like, you know, make this, you know, great and good and, you know, squared away. So, you know, we can start working on that album. So, start soon. I don't feel extra pressure. I mean, people ask, do you feel pressure, you know, with your dad and your uncle being who they are also? I don't feel any pressure on my shoulders because I just really do me. And I just, you know, look to myself. I don't look at other people like, oh, or, you know, he's saying this or she's saying that. I just be doing me. Outside of music, I have my sneaker company, Chivalrous Culture. I'm actually rocking them right now, and these drop in October, I believe, and you know, those are coming along well. You can, well, the pre-ordering whole thing is done because they sold out, but you could go on the site chivculture.com, chivculture.com, and, you know, check out, you know, the different colorways and, you know, the blog. Past all this industry stuff and the money that comes with, I genuinely love making music, and on, you know, like a daily basis, whether it's writing, being in the studio, or just vibing, you know what I'm saying? I love the feeling that I get when I do this. So that's just really made me like, yeah, this is for me. Take it as far as, you know, it takes me, you know what I'm saying? This is what I want to do. A lot of people are like, you know, why would he want to do that? It's rich. He's rich, you know what I'm saying? That's like, I feel as though that's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like I'm going to live off my father's money forever. The only reason why I'm living off of him is, you know, because I'm a minor, like any other kid, you know? So when I turn 18, what am I going to do? You know? So, like I said, I do this genuinely because I love it. But, you know, this is what I want to do forever.
Yeah, I ain't gon' give up the game. I ain't gon' give up the game. I ain't gon' give up the game.